Hello, welcome back to One to the Force, a Star Wars podcast. My name's Phil, of course, and I'm joined as usual by Dave and Absent. Good evening, Dave.
Good evening, my friend. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. A little jet lag, so apologies for missing our episode on the Wednesday. I have just returned from holiday, and being 5 hours the wrong way, everything was topsy-turvy. So, apologies for that. However, good back now, and I'm happy we waited because of, because of last night, because a big bit of news dropped.
It was just one of those things. So the Disney shareholder, where Bob Iger phones in and talks coming, and then for Disney was yesterday, and out of that came a number of announcements. But probably the greatest announcement ever in the history of announcements was that we're going to get a series set around Cassian Andor, a live-action series with Diego Luna returning to the role. It's incredible.
It is one of those that we did not see this coming. We knew we had The Mandalorian coming. We thought they might wait a few years, see how The Mandalorian does, see how people react to a live-action show. But no, they've gone straight down the jugular to give us something that we actually wanted, which is to find out more about Cassian. I mean, yes, it's been this fight since he was 6 years old, but we didn't see much of it in Rebels. We actually didn't see him at all. So to see him now in his own series, to see where his story went, how it kind of started, to see the events leading up to Rogue One. Now, the only thing, of course, we know is he will live. But everything else is up in the air. Maybe we'll see him meet K2SO. If they bring it out in Tunic, that would be awesome. It would be great to see. So, yeah, this announcement came out of absolutely nowhere. So instead of us doing our usual episode on Wednesday and then having to wait 2 weeks before this drops, luckily for us, it happened on the Thursday, so we're able to talk about it today. But yes, it was something I didn't see coming, but something I'm very excited for.
I never thought about it at all. I never thought about the character again after Rogue One. I love Rogue One. It's one of my favorites. But to get this just come out of nowhere, to get this announcement that we're going to fill in his backstory, and obviously this is not going to go really young with him because it's Diego Luna coming back, the character. So we're going to just see him leading up to Rogue One, which I think has made the sense going to be like a spy thriller show, which is going to be absolutely epic. And you're absolutely right.
We'll see how he knows his contact that he sees and, spoiler alert, kills at the beginning of Rogue One.
Yes, every episode. I think saw someone on Twitter that every episode should start with them shooting somebody else in the back. Just literally every episode starts that way. Then cut to the music. It's really, really excellent. You're right. K2SO has to make an appearance in this. Absolutely has to, even if it's in the back end of it. It's just really exciting news that I would have never ever thought they would have.
They need to start the series with the hug with him and Jin and going, so you're probably wondering how I ended up here.
That's absolutely how the whole thing should start. But it's just, I never ever thought we'd revisit Rogue One characters ever again. No. It never crossed my mind. Never in thought of what Disney could do with spin-off shows and TV shows. Not once did I think, oh, you know what, could go back to Rogue One. And it's really exciting news. And I think, again, the Mandalorian fans loved that was coming out, really reacted well to it. This, again, I have not seen any negativity surround it at all.
No, and it's like this. We didn't see something like this coming. I mean, so we only just had the announcement for The Mandalorian, and Jon Favreau's show has been hyped up quite a bit so far, but to have a second show announced now, yes, they've announced that it's going to start production in 2019 with no set release date so far. You can probably imagine it being the tail end of 2020. We don't know how many series of The Mandalorian we're getting. We don't know how many series of this we're getting. All we know is that for now it starts production in 2019, but unlike some of the other rumored projects, this one is at least confirmed and announced.
Just great news. I mean, especially after we'll go back to it again. It's the Last Jedi saga where people are kind of losing their interest to see the pure, unadulterated joy that these two announcements have brought. Especially this one. It's great. It's obviously people have used that meme a load of the girl with the boyfriend walking along, him looking over his shoulder. I saw the other day that was the boyfriend holding someone with the Mandalorian picture and then looking back over his shoulder saying the Cassian one. And it was like, yes, that is absolutely it. We're getting spoiled again with awesome stuff.
It's one of the things that people are going, well, look, we need to slow down our releases, but doesn't mean we can't have TV shows. And what's great is with that we have Resistance this year, Clone Wars next year, Mandalorian next year. We'll have Cassian Andor the year after. And for those periods in between the films, for the casual fan, it's fine for us. In between, we're now getting good content. And it also means that once episode 9's over, we're going to have something to watch and review on this channel. Which is brilliant. We're also going, all right, we have episode 9 next year, so we have content for at least another 13 months. Now, after those 13 months, what we'll have, we're not sure. At least now we go, okay, we have content. We are fine.
I was just going to get figures and play with figures in front of the camera for a while and just
go back to the Dark Ages, the time between.
Yes, absolutely. I have to. It's just brilliant news. I'm really, really happy they've announced it. I'm really happy with the person they've picked, the character they've chosen. The fact it doesn't have to, it won't go into, we'll probably have to go back to places like Yavin, and it's going to be the start of the...
No, what a shame. We have to go back to Yavin.
It'd just be great to see characters that were around that area. They've got so much scope of who they could bring into this show around it, because it's all about the start of the rebellion. So, Oh my word, I'm way more excited than this show than I ever expected to be by the next TV show announcement. This is nailed it.
Well, I wasn't expecting another TV announcement so soon. I thought they were going to wait until The Mandalorian had at least had one season under its belt before they announced another one. But to have the announcement, at least, it's a year afterwards, so at least we'll have The Mandalorian first to kind of see where they're going with it. But if anything's to go by from the reactions we've had so far, and if Rogue One is anything to go by, as long as they have the same creative team behind it, I think they can't go wrong. Because Rogue One was perfect. I mean, it's one of the best, if not the best, Star Wars film out there, and it's not even a saga film. It was just this perfect story, perfectly placed, and you never know. We could end up seeing a certain Dark Lord of the Sith return in live action, which would be amazing.
It would be amazing. And I mean, it's not in our news section. I just bring it up with this. They've actually now hired a in-house ILM team for just the TV shows.
Yeah.
So to have ILM actually, that you're going to get that level of...
Yes, I mean, with Lucasfilm, it is one of those things of, it is throw all the money at it.
Yeah.
But they have made all of the money. They paid $4 billion, and they made it back within the first few films.
Yeah, they can just make it rain.
Yeah, they can. They have a license to print it. The fact they should have their own version of money. Well, you can buy it at Disney parks, but it's not good outside of it. Maybe that's what they use to pay everyone's wages.
Yes, absolutely. There must be something. Yeah.
However, though, speaking of the TV shows of The Mandalorian, though, we do kind of have, unfortunately, a sad bit of news as well to go along with that. We last reported a couple of weeks ago, but it's now been the ante as it was going up to. We had a report of stolen equipment from the set of The Mandalorian. What we've been told, though, among what the rumours is, it's stolen from the camera department. It's actually a memory card containing sensitive information, which is at the moment they're only doing the pilot, but it's not good. We don't need that leaking.
Well, certainly don't want it leaking. Definitely, that's one thing. I don't want to know anything about this show until I see it. I'm sure there'll be a trailer will come out in due time, but for it to someone, obviously, it seems like it can only be someone who, that's going to be such a closed down set for someone to get into the camera department. If it's true that it's something from the camera department, it's a memory card, that's just nuts. Although, had it been, one, how do they release it? Because the minute they put an image out, I doubt this guy's house or girl's house and arrest them, because you've got to think that's being tracked for as soon as anything hits the line.
Yeah, the black helicopters and the mouse will be coming for them. If anything gets released.
Outside the front door.
Aha! We found you! Aha! Clap your hands up! Aha! Yes, unfortunately, it would be the most hilarious arrest on record. If you try to say that when you're drunk, luckily we're only on Pepsi here, but other brands are available. But still, no, you can't leak it. Well, you can, but you'd be at a hell of a risk to yourself. So if they have stolen it, what can you do with it?
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's not going to be, you're not getting edited footage, you're not getting an episode, you're not getting stuff. Even if you did put it out there, you're going to get arrested. So really, what can you do? You can maybe hold on to it till a week before it's due out and release some images.
You have audio, you just have raw video. That's all you have.
So it's crazy that someone would go in and take that, and unless you're desperate, and then what? But who's going to buy it? No, you can't sell it on. It's just insane that they would do it. And
you extort Disney, they'll go, okay, it's fine. We now know who you are.
yeah,
It's best lawyers.
It's really bad that someone could be invited to that set or to work in that area on the production in any way, shape, or form. Would think, you know what, I can make a book out of this. I think they've shot themselves in the back. One, to be honest, they're probably still working there because they don't know who it is yet. But everyone's going to be under suspicion, so it just makes for a bad working environment.
Yeah.
And you know what? If it is someone in the production company that's in it, it won't be just the person who took it who'll know. Pretty much, it'll filter down. These how work environments happen. Stories come down. And it's just, it's just bad crack.
It'll get around. Yeah.
It's
not smart, weird. And it's not gonna pay off for them. It really isn't.
Yeah.
So
I understand taking like a prop or something that you could maybe just get out and think, oh, that's of great value to me, and maybe down the line you could put it out there on the internet and some pages that could sell that on. But to steal this footage of nothing, probably, maybe somebody imagine you will get scenes maybe, but nothing that you could show out there. Probably stuff we'll all see anyway. Seems silly.
It does. So whoever you are, well done. You shot yourself in the foot there. Enjoy your stolen images.
Maybe they just need a memory card with loads of space on. So like, oh, I'll just take this one. They've already wiped the stuff that was on it. Like, yeah, look at the size of this memory card.
If you could use it, because they are completely different to a regular memory card. Again, well done. You're just shooting yourself in the foot many times over. Again, moving on. Next bit of news. Lucasfilm's announced a new Lego Star Wars. All the animated series, first 5 shorts to arrive daily the week Monday, October 29th to Friday, November 2nd for half-hour episodes, with premiere Saturdays from November 17th to November 8th. Again, you have all the information on this one, so I'm going to let you...
Yeah, well, as I say, this All-Star show, it's a new Lego show. They've had a few in the past. They've had the Freemaker Adventures, which this has a little bit of tie-in with. The characters are in there. And it's a series that's going to sort of encapsulate all of the characters from all the eras. I've seen 2 episodes, and it's children's Lego adventure things, very quick, 5 minutes. They're harmless enough, but I say I've watched 2 and I'll not go back to watch any more. Just want to see what they were like. It's all the first 2 I've seen about, I think it was episode 4 and 5, about Roger the droid, from the battle droid, from the Freemaker Adventures, which I didn't see either. So it's fine. I'm sure the kids will enjoy these shorts and the half-hour episodes that they get. But it's just, I say it's not for me. That's just I love watching cartoons about Star Wars, but even that's just a little bit young for me.
Yeah,
and I don't
have canon to consume, let alone anything else.
That's exactly it. Yeah, they'll be fine. They look great. They're animated really well. You get things like Jawas and things like that. So it's nice to see returns of classic characters. But yeah, just not for me. But they're out there, and they will be airing in the UK from January 12th, 2019, to Disney XD. They'll be coming on.
Indeed. It means that I'm only missing, I think, like 5 books at the moment from the canon, and only 5 or 6 comics as well. So it's not... I have enough canon to consume, let alone consuming something else. Okay. With the Lego stuff, it's never really intended to be canon, nor was it ever intended to be aimed at adults. That's purely a children's show. But it's always good to see the collaboration. I mean, they've done good down the line. The games are always fun. And the Freemakers had good reviews. It is just fun. It's not for us personally, but it is just fun. And people with kids like yourself, again, you can sit down harmlessly for a couple hours if they enjoy Star Wars and Lego. But apart from that, yeah, it's coming. If you're there, if you're interested, it's coming out. If not, there you go. Next bit of news: Star Wars Rebels Season 4 is finally available in the UK. It came out October 31st, which was only 3 months after the US release. Something like that. Waiting that for like a lifetime. Like, okay, so they have it. That's great. Where's my release? Go on, chop. So yeah, that's fine. Excuse me.
It has. It's taken a while for it to get to us, and it's nice that people can now complete their collections. It would have been nice if we could have got a box set of 1 through 4, like this did with, or like a box together like they did with the Clone Wars series, and had those to look at. But they've released them 1 to 4. I don't think you'll get anything more than that. It seems to be all done with Rebels now. It's all over. This is what you've got. There's some good stuff on the Season 4 Blu-ray. You get some commentaries on like specific episodes with Dave Filoni, so that's really good. I'll send you picking up to have a look at that. Really enjoyed Rebels overall. There was a lot of episodes that you could probably skip by and got the main story.
every episode ever with AP5 you can skip. There's no point ever watching anything he's ever involved in. But yes,
I don't know who this AP5 is, because if it comes back, I might get like post-traumatic droid syndrome.
It's why I love the bit in Solo where the droid that's extremely slow gets run over. For me, that's poetic justice.
Yeah, I believe that was him. In my head, it was. In my heart, it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, so if you haven't seen Rebels, I would urge you to go out and pick this up, because it is canon.
Yep.
These characters could come up at any point. I'm fairly sure they will in live action at some point.
Yeah, the Ghost is in Rogue One, and of course with this Cassian Andor trick, you never know who's going to turn up where.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Chopper could just be rolling around. We're yet to see. Again, would be good. Depends on where they go with that show, obviously. But no, Rebels finally season 4's out on Blu-ray. George was waiting to see if they did do a box set of all 4. I think he's a bit miffed that he's waited all this time. There's not going to be a box set, so tough luck, George. But yes, finally out for those in the UK. I know Robert's already got it. I haven't got it yet, but I will be getting it at some point in the near future. So next one is a tricky one to talk about. So the rumored Boba Fett standalone film is no longer in development. Now this film was never actually confirmed. We always knew there was another live action non-saga standalone film, anthology film. When we first had it announced, we knew that there was a slot for a film, but it was never confirmed what it was. The rumor was always Boba Fett, but now the rumor is that the production has been halted completely, and given the unfortunate failings of Solo, even though we loved it, and the DVD and Blu-ray sales have actually boosted that and made it no longer a financial fail. Because of the initial flop of the film itself, because of The Last Jedi, because of that backlash, that film was no longer in development. And if it was to be a Boba Fett film, I'm actually glad they're not going to make it. Unpopular opinion, I know, is that Boba Fett is a very popular character. However, I've never seen the necessity to make a film. You never need to know his story. He's better as a mystery, to me personally, than anything else. I don't know what your opinions are on that, Dave.
I kind of have two thoughts. I mean, this was going to be initially it was going to be Josh Trank's film before he went crazy allegedly and got taken off that. And once he was out, then it kind of went into the background. And then yeah, we always had these rumors that it was going to be the guy who directed Logan, whose name is James Mangold. It was going to be him who was going to be directing. That was the next rumor that came out, maybe only a few months ago. That was the big story. And then yeah, this came out. This is again, it's never been an official word, so there's never officially announced. It's never had to be officially denied. I guess it just goes away that it's no longer in production. It's no longer in their thoughts, or it's going to be released. Would a Boba Fett film work for me? It would very much depend on where they set it. If this was Boba Fett suddenly climbing himself out of the Sarlacc, then no, not really. That's not my idea of a good time. I would have been very interested if it had been. There was a rumor that stories that people put out on the internet, as they do. There was going to be just a random guy who found Boba Fett's armor out near the Sarlacc years and years after Jedi, put it on, becomes Boba Fett. And that kind of intrigues me more, someone else taking up that mantle of Boba Fett and going on. Or I would want to see stories before Empire.
Well, the canon background for that armor has now been set, as in what happens afterwards. The Sarlacc has been killed. The armor has been sold on.
Oh, okay.
It's in the Aftermath trilogy. It's in the third book, if I remember correctly, in one of the little snippets they do, because they do the background snippets here and there, like the one with Jar Jar. Basically, it's someone teaming up with Mali Kili, the Rancor keeper, as well. So it's the background that it's still on Tatooine, but Boba Fett is no longer alive from what we've discovered so far. So that you can't really go forward. You only go back, and I think the only way you want to go back at the moment is to have a proper Solo sequel involving Boba Fett, because at least at that point, though, you have a main character and you have him being brought in as a subplot. To have him, it's very difficult to have him create his own film, because he already has a background in Clone Wars. He has his origin. He already has his story, as it were, in episodes 5 and 6. He has his ending. There's not a huge amount you can do with the character. And also then whoever plays the character, you have to get done correctly. You'd have to bring in Daniel Logan, I think, just to give that nuance. Or I can't remember the name of the guy who
Tamura Morrison.
Yes, exactly. So you have options, but it doesn't, for me, have much of a leg to stand on. And it's not a story I want told. I want fresh stories. I don't want to keep rehashing. Cassian's a different aspect because it's taken a single character we know in a story that has been told, that there's background to be added onto it. Whereas Boba Fett, you already have a beginning and an ending. Tell someone in the middle, not so easy. With Cassian, you already have a beginning to tell. You know, he's been fighting since he was 6 years old. Okay, that's all we know so far. So there is scope backwards to grow. Whereas Boba Fett, you already have the bookends. So filling out that middle is not the easiest task in the world. And you have to do the character right, because if not, you're taking this mythos, this character of these 5 lines and this very brief on-screen time, and you're ruining it. And I mean, Clone Wars did a great job of introducing Boba as his own character after Episode 2, after that happened with his father in the pit in Geonosis. They gave him a background, again, without creating it too much as a solid plot point. He had story arcs, but he was never this main focal point. And I like that. If you give Boba Fett a focal point, he doesn't have too much to stand on. That's my own personal opinion. I know other people out there are different. People love Boba Fett. I've got a friend of mine who's a massive Fett fan who disagreed with me entirely. But in my own personal opinion, which is great about the show, it doesn't have much to stand on.
I just think now as well with The Mandalorian, they're going to cover a lot of probably that kind of storytelling in The Mandalorian, and then to have a Boba Fett film alongside at the same time, that's going to cause confusion in the market because you've got 2 Mandalorians telling 2 different stories that might be in the same sort of planets. I just think that made more sense when they looked and thought, we've got a series that's coming out, 10 episodes about a Mandalorian. We don't then need a film about another Mandalorian to mess that up as well. Again, that would go into probably the overkill that we've been talking about previous weeks on the show, that it's just a bit too much. So I think they've got something really good in the Touchwood. They've got something really good in The Mandalorian coming out. Everything we've seen is positive.
As well, because you'd have this Mandalorian coming out and then Boba Fett coming out, and it would take all the focal point off of The Mandalorian and put it straight into Boba Fett. Because then everyone would just be comparing, and that's not what you need. You need contrast, not comparisons.
Yeah, I think there's ways and means they could probably do, but yeah, definitely when they've got The Mandalorian coming out, I don't see any purpose or any need for this film to be out there. Obviously, the only film they should really be putting out there is Kenobi. Please do Kenobi. Why have you not done Kenobi yet? Give us Kenobi.
Yes, that is the only thing that all of us fans desire is Kenobi. They haven't done it. And Ray Parker's back. Come on, we have Kenobi aboard again. Come on. We know how this ends. We want to see more of it. So yes, I mean, come on. I mean, to be fair, that would have been great if that was the announcement instead of the Cassian show. I'm happy it was the Cassian show, but can you imagine if that had been the announcement?
Then, yeah, this would have been this show would have been on last night, very early hours of the morning, and we would still be talking about it now with our excitement, little fanboy faces. It's just, it's something that you're right. I just don't think it's required. There's not enough, like you say. Boba Fett has a mystique, and to then take that mystique away with a film doesn't really work on that side of it.
No, it just detracts from the character, and that's not what you need.
Yeah. He's a big player still for all that he does in the film and how he dies stupidly. But so it's not. So I'm not upset that they've taken it off the schedule or that was never there. But I'm not bothered, to be honest. That's my honest. Couldn't have cared one iota. It wouldn't have been a film I'd be rushing out at a midnight showing to see.
However, though, talking about Disney and films things, it was 6 years ago. So October 30th last week, 6 years ago, Disney bought Lucasfilm for $4.05 billion. We're going to get touch in Canteen talk later about the legacy it's left. However, 6 years, 5 films, with a 6th coming out next year, with an animated TV show, 2 animated TV shows with Resistance currently being broadcast, Clone Wars coming back, you have The Mandalorian being announced. They've done a lot in 6 years.
It has flown around that to think that video that came out of George Lucas signing over his world and his life over to Disney. So it was the only people who wanted to take over this franchise and to have the ownership of Star Wars. It's at the perfect place for children's movies. Children's movies, not adults. But yes, so it seemed like a really good fit, and it's yeah, I just can't believe how quickly that it's passed. It seems like minutes ago when someone said 6 years. If someone passed me through, oh, 6 years ago, shut up. But then you think, yeah, it really has flown over.
It has indeed. I mean, yeah, no, 6 years ago we were told that the House of Mouse now contains Star Wars as well as Marvel, and it was a big deal at the time. It really was. We'll touch on the legacy later, but we'll see where it goes in the future. But for now, yeah, these 6 years have flown by so far. Next news. Also, go on, again.
No, I was literally just going to follow up on that, just stay on the same point, really. So, yeah, continue on, yes.
Yeah, next news we've got is Pozus are launching 2 new Star Wars designs at the Rhode Island Comic Con. They were selling them quite cheaply at London Comic Con a couple weeks ago. I was tempted, but at the same time, they're just shoes and they're not particularly that durable in terms of I didn't see anything quite sturdy enough that I particularly liked. In my own personal opinion, I think they're quite overpriced. They look pretty, but they're just not too fast.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I mean, I'm aware of high tops. I'm a Converse person. That's the only shoes I will wear. Just Converse. That's all I have. To my wife's annoyance by how many pairs I have of them lying around the house. They only wear one pair at a time. The story going, I only got one set of feet. Yes, I have, but I like these shoes. Yes, I mean they are high tops, and then these new ones that design are Rey and Kylo. Rey's on a white shoe, and Kylo's on a black shoe with a red hint. They're fine, but you know they're plain shoe with like a sketch at the back of the towards the heel. They look, for the amount of money that people pay for these shoes, there's not much to them. For design wise, even I'm not a fan. I say I'm a Converse boy through and through, so won't switch my shoe brand until they do Star Wars. Then I'll absolutely buy a million pairs of them. But yeah, so yeah, it's great. I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who love shoes way more than they should, and will probably these myself.
I'm a Nike Air fan myself, but I only buy mine off eBay because I'm not paying stupid amounts of money for it, and they're tough, they're durable, and they're comfortable. That's what does me. These shoes are not, and they're very, very, very expensive. And it's still, don't get a lot for your money either in terms of the design, and because they're subtle, but you can't. There's a mix between being subtle and being just in your face marketing ploy, and it's a bit of just a marketing ploy at the end of the day. And yes, I agree with you. I'm not really going to change my shoes unless it improves really, but or is the price improves? Because I mean, George has bought his own set. I think he has.
It's got the Poor Dameron ones. Is it Poor Finn ones? I don't know which one.
I think it's got the Poor. So we'll let George one episode when he does return, if he ever returns. Until then, I will just bash absent until he returns, and he'll never know. No, it's fine. He does watch the show. He is working behind the scenes, everyone. He does apologise when he can't make it. Dave and I knew this was going to be the case, but he always works behind the scenes with us, always helps us get the show ready. He's still a big part of the production. He may not be on screen as much as he'd like, but yeah, he's still working behind the scenes. The next bit is the J.J. Abrams bit of news. I'm going to let you take this one, Dave, because I did not know about this.
Yeah, I mean, it came out sort of back end of last week that J.J. Abrams was looking for basically a studio exclusive deal, something in the terms of he works with solely that he would deliver TV content for, movie content for, interactive content for, just everything in one house. But they're talking about billion, like I think there's someone's. I think one quote was about $1 billion to have him there, and whether that's right or not, this is what apparently he's looking for, just to be at one studio and deliver all his content through that. And apparently Disney are in that fold to try and grab him, and that's probably he's done such a good job on episode 7. We get to see how he deals with episode 9, but he's got that coming as well. Obviously, he's got his hand dipped in he was the director of a Mission Impossible film. His company did Lost, did Alias, covered so many things that
you can imagine basically Disney will buy Bad Robot and you'll have J.J. Abrams exclusively at Lucasfilm from now on.
That's exactly what they're looking for, yeah. And there are other studios apparently in the look, but I would guess if anything, Disney probably have the pulling power, the money to spend. And the idea to say, look, you want to create a show, we'll put it on this new Disney. It's a Disney Plus, they're calling the app.
Yeah.
You can even just look at the money that Favreau's getting thrown at his series Mandalorian. It was $10 million an episode.
Yeah, $100 million is ridiculous.
Yeah, for 10 episodes, which is just for a TV show. That's going on an app.
Game of Thrones. That's bigger than Vikings. That's bigger than anything on HBO or anything on Atlantic or anything like that. It's huge.
Just Disney slapping it down the desk, going, "Yep, we've got this." And so yeah, it's that's what he's looking for. Apparently, he wants just this big mega deal to be exclusive for someone. So that's just, it's not really Star Wars in news until maybe he stays with Disney. But yeah, just with him being a director of Episode 9 and coming, I thought it was an interesting bit of news to put in there.
Indeed. Again, I'll let you take the next bit as well, because you're the one that this quote as well from Daniel Logan.
Yeah, this came from an interview. Daniel Logan was talking about that, in his opinion, Clone Wars got cancelled when it went to Disney because it was getting really graphic. And I guess in some ways he has a point. All the Clone Wars got, it did get pretty dark from where it started. Lightsabers through the chest. Or I remember one, there's Ventress kisses somebody and then literally a lightsaber through its clone, a lightsaber up through his chest, and you see that lightsaber go through him. It just got to a place there was a lot of death and destruction. Which
the Oran arc is by far the best, and yes, it gets quite graphic.
Yeah, so and he said that's why Disney wanted. And I know when Cartoon Network gave the rights to Netflix to show it, they said that it kind of lost the family feel that the Cartoon Network has, that it didn't fit in with their narrative anymore, and that's why they let it go to Netflix. But yeah, one of the things that came out of it, Daniel Logan said that they'd actually recorded 7 more episodes with Boba Fett in, and the unfinished episode that would put Fett against Cad Bane, which we've seen a clip of.
From, yes, and we have had unfinished stories released. I mean, everything that was written has been put out. So whether those 7 are legit or not, whether he's kind of fluffing it a little bit or not, we'll never know. However, I can't see him lying on this one, and we'll wait and see until what we get next year. I just hope Disney do continue down that track.
Yeah, it'd be nice if even if they took what they've got from, let's say he did record enough for 7 episodes, he might have been given 7 scenarios that was in, and they can maybe combine that into a story or an episode in the new series. Whether he is actually being called in, it depends. We're getting 12 episodes, 13 episodes.
12.
So we're getting arcs. We're going to get arcs. They're not going to be any singular stories. There's going to be arcs of stories going through. So who knows what we're going to get. And it would be interesting if we did get to see that Cad Bane Boba Fett standoff.
Yep.
Especially they have a classic Western shootout in the unfinished scene that we saw Dave Filoni's show at, was it Celebration Orlando? Was it Celebration? Celebration Orlando, wasn't it?
It was Orlando, yeah.
Yeah, so we saw the unfinished VFX for that. So it's a really interesting character. Logan obviously really loved playing him.
Yes.
And there is that element that he could be giving this interview and he's talking. It probably has been an interview at a con. And yes, of course he wants to big up the part or role that he was going to inherit. But obviously we saw from when we left, Boba Fett was building up in the series where he was appearing a little bit more to where we're probably going to see classic Boba. But yeah, it's just really interesting information. I don't know what your thoughts on exactly Logan carrying on with that role were.
I really hope that we see more of him in what we get of Clone Wars next year. And if we get more of it, if we do get another series on top of these 12 episodes, depending on how far they go with the timeline, etc., I would be more than happy to see more and for him to end up as classic Boba. And that, again, in which case you don't need a Boba Fett film, because then you already have the completed arc. You don't need any more than that. So I'd be more than happy if that was the case. I really would. Yeah,
you're right. You've hit the nail on the head there. That if they fill in this story, you're right. There's nowhere for us to go with Boba Fett. We've got his start. We've got his finish. We've got probably his middle is in a lot of comics things out there. So there really is nowhere to go. This Mandalorian show is going to be their sole Mandalorian. This is where they're going to focus. Yeah. But yeah, I'd quite like to see a bit more Boba Fett in the Clone Wars episodes we get, whether we do or not, or whether Clone Wars does really well, we get maybe a couple more episodes in another sort of series. That would be excellent. Leading right into Rebels would be amazing. So yeah, we'll see what's to come.
Well, it can't lead into Rebels.
Well, you know what I mean. Like, episode 3 sort of get through 3 and
It
lead on
can't
a
go
little bit after
it
that.
has to end leading into episode 3. We already know this is the case, unless you want to go into order.
Oh no, I was just saying if they do this, like the 12 will lead definitely into 3. I
Yeah.
think it'll lead into 3 really early. I think we'll get left. Yeah, I think the Ahsoka arc will be the last few episodes where Anakin and Obi-Wan will leave Ahsoka to fight Maul.
Yeah.
And they'll go off for maybe they'll be in one of the episodes, the last 3 or 4, and then it'll just be Ahsoka's story to lead us out. Is what my thought is anyway.
No, I generally think the ending will be those two going off to save the Chancellor, and then you'll have episode 3. I think that would be the ending. That would be the perfect endpoint.
It'd be awesome to kind of watch them concurrently run. So you start watching those last few episodes of Clone Wars and straight into episode 3 would be an amazing thing to be able to do. That you can build this picture of stuff that you can kind of watch all the way through these.
You can have Rogue One into episode 4 completely seamlessly.
Well, yeah, there's videos. If you want to see that, go on YouTube. It's loads of people.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's mashed together, but it is so seamless.
I must admit, personally, on that note, though, now when I watch episode 4, Vader is in a completely new light for me. He is just so much more pissed off and angry and just wanting. You can see the motivation more with Rogue One.
I like how, yeah. Now when you watch it, I like how you see him explode in Rogue One, and it just seems like he's literally vented that anger, and he's just so calm and collective and keeping it in episode 4. That seems like the
undercurrent now is there that wasn't there before. You didn't know why he was. Eventually you find out the plans, and you kind of go, oh, okay, this is his big project. He doesn't want to get destroyed. Now it's a case of, oh, this is why he's so mad, and he just lost them. When you have him killing the guy on the bridge on the Tantive 4, going, no, I know they were here. I kind of chased you on board. Don't BS me. It gives it a whole new level. It to me, it really adds to it. So to see that happening with Clone Wars into episode 3, that would be good.
I think you're right. I think it would be a perfect lead-in, absolutely perfect lead-in. Let's hope that that's where we get to. And I think that's definitely where they're going to lead to. They'll leave us literally at the door of Obi-Wan and Anakin's ships turning up after the crawl in episode 3. We'll get right to that point.
Well, yeah.
Hopefully, we get to see the story of the chance.
Yeah, when you see Ahsoka in Rebels, she said the last thing that I saw of Obi-Wan, because it was when Ez was watching the training video on the Holocron. The last time I saw them, him and Anakin were running off to save the Chancellor. And that's all you need, is that the ending shot has to be Ahsoka after literally watching those two fly off, and then it's credits done. That's how these 12 episodes, or if they get more next year, that's where it has to end. You can do, you could do Clone Wars Order 66 as in a mini series exploring.
Yeah. This week's episode: Jedi's get shot.
Who gets killed and how? Find out. You can play a drinking game. What's your favorite Jedi die? But can you guess how?
Was it by the droid attack on the Wookiees? So it was. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. I can't wait for it to happen. It's all good. It's so much coming in the future that we're excited for, which is what is the main thing. After a bit of a letdown and the grumbling, for there to be so many things coming that people are really excited for, blows my mind.
Indeed, and it's. I mean, I can't wait to see what they do with the show. But I don't disbelieve Daniel Logan, though. I'm not going to say he is lying. He may have padded it out slightly. I mean, of course you do. You kind of want to see more and hear more. It's human nature, but it's neither here nor there, really. If it's true, it's true. If it's not, it's not. However, might as well move on to again talking of the animated TV shows. We have Taylor Gray attending from the November 24th to November 25th the MCM Comic Con in Birmingham. I had the pleasure of meeting him at Wales Comic Con in April, and he's an absolute delight. So if you get the opportunity to go, do it.
It's nice, yeah. There's not been a massive amount of Star Wars guests for that show, but to get Taylor Gray as a guest, I think, yeah, as you say, when you met him, and he was a really nice guy, down to earth, and I think it's just a nice opportunity for him to be doing these Comic Cons. He's gonna be able to probably do them for years and years to come. So I think that's really good for him. And I think again, if we'd have no Comic Cons up here close enough in the Northeast,
you're not allowed nice things.
Probably closest, but it's a few people on the book list I'd quite like to meet.
Yeah. Well, I did message, tweet Vanessa Marshall prior to MCM Comic Con for London October, and she wasn't invited. She said, "Yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't invited, but I would love to have gone." Like, come on, fix it, bring these people over here, damn it. But it is what it is. And finally, the Star Wars Fan Awards are now open. The voting is now open, closing on November 13th. So you've got short stories, short films. You've got art, poems. You've got the lot. So it's on StarWars.com, isn't it? Everything that you can
StarWars.com, yeah. If you go on there, it's all over for Fan Awards. All the videos you want to watch, there's a lot of content. So if you do want to vote and put your word on it, go and have a look. There are some people put some amazing work into short videos that are going on a internet competition. Some of the like special effects you see in some of these people's videos are really good, and the direction of some of the short that people do and base them in this universe are really like clever. You have to kind of like, wow, that's I mean, obviously a lot of them aren't TV quality, probably filming on whatever they have, phones and things like that, but it's really worthwhile going over and having a watch, just seeing some of the creative people who are out there in the fan base creating these really good shorts and shows.
Indeed. So yeah, head over to StarWars.com, the official Star Wars website, look at the StarWars.com app as well, the Star Wars app, and it'll direct you to where you need to go to watch and to look at all these things. The artwork always fascinates me. I love to see what people create. So I'll be checking it out. We will check it out on the channel. So go have a look. We will report more on it when they do the awards themselves. I'm not sure when they're doing it. They might do a celebration in April. We'll see. But for now, go have a look. Go vote. And just waste your evening looking at Star Wars stuff. You can't really go wrong because that's what you're doing already. So have fun with that. We have no Star Wars this evening. There's nothing new really. It's just Poe Dameron is now finished. Issue 31 has now finally come out. So that's in a bumper issue has now been finished and done. We already know about the Shadows of Vader starting, although we don't know how it's going to end now because of what happened with Chuck Wending. So there's not really much to talk about here at the moment. We may get more in a couple weeks' time if there is. If not, that's it for now. Bookshelf. So I saw lots of these images, lots of these figures previews when I was up at MCM Comic Con. I sent pictures to the guys. So for the Black Series archive, we've now got Anakin and Yoda. New images of Padme, Battle Droid B or Battle Droid of Mace Windu. For the Vintage Collection, we've got Chewbacca, R2, and Poe. Packaging for the Resistance figures has been revealed. It's quite nice. It mirrors the show quite well in the animation style. So we'll move on to the Hot Toys and the other stuff in a bit. But for now, those are our first three things. The Vintage Collection is just going from strength to strength. It really is. I picked up a few when I was at Comic-Con. They are just incredible.
We've actually had this in our discussion. We have a messenger group, obviously, and we talk about things. And the difference that the Poe Dameron Vintage Collection 3 3/4 inch, the face sculpt on that, the difference between that and the Poe Dameron Black Series figure that we got so long ago. I think it's been 2 releases and they're both terrible. Yeah. Nothing like him. It's so much better quality on the Vintage Collection figure. Painting
now on the Black Series does help. It's improved the quality vastly. I mean, the new General Grievous I've seen in person, and my God, is it beautiful. However, yes, the quality difference is incredible. And it's not just the actual quality of the figures, it's the cards as well. It's that background, it's very much a sucker deal. It's very much a catering to us of an old generation who remember that. I mean, when I was a kid, we had Power of the Force in the 90s. I just missed out on the kind of lines, although you still had a few floating around. But Dave, it's right in your prime.
Forget about it. I love... Yeah, if it was my choice, any Star Wars figure that came out would be on that card. That symbol, that picture, that bubble in the corner. Done. Thank you very much. Take my money.
Yeah. George just thinks about the whole thing. He really is. I remember these figures when they were around. It was only just, but I do remember them.
Yeah, the Black Series that came out as well. The two that probably the images of Padme had already been around, and the Anakin ones as well for the archive collection, because they're now releasing older figures that were harder to get now, and you have to pay quite a bit for. So they're releasing those, and if it's a human character, they're doing the digital face paint on those. Then there's the
Boba Fett that I saw up there looked incredible.
And the Mace Windu that they're now bringing out, I don't know if you've had a chance to see it, but the Mace Windu is incredible. Like the face on it is I mean, yes, that's the glory shot, and that's on the putting out for people to see. But if it's anything close to that when it actually hits retail, superb. And who doesn't want to go out and buy 1,000,001 B1 battle droids?
Exactly, considering they fold up as well.
Yes, they fold up like when they come out of the
We don't want two, just like have one folded up and one standing. One for East and one to Mr. Bones from the Aftermath series.
Just excellent.
Yeah, who doesn't want 1,000,001 battle droids? I mean, the B1 battle droids as well. I mean, from watching the Clone Wars, everyone loves a battle droid. Everyone loves a battle droid. Matt Wood has just kept taking this rather pathetic hunk of metal and made it human and given it a soul that everyone loves. And it's just, yeah.
It's certainly something. I mean, I'm an inbox collector, so I'll certainly be picking up one to keep in its box. But yeah, you're right. These are a couple of figures I'll probably buy a couple of times so I can have one just loose on my desk or here in the office where I do all the podcasting from. Just have a look around and have a couple of B1 battle droids around as well. So that's one I really can't wait for. And I was never ever interested in those droids, but suddenly it's taking this new little role and you see them and basically go, oh, they're really cool and I need them and I need them now.
Yeah, you just want them to do a Commander droid, you want them to do a Vulture droid, you want them to do a Destroyer droid. You just want them a lot.
Yeah. That's the only issue. I do want them all.
For me, if they do a Destroyer droid, I want them to do a version, but you know it'd be a con exclusive, or it has a shield around it. You just know that would be an exclusive.
And it can't be hard to get some see-through blue plastic just to house over the top, like a little shell.
Yeah,
it would still look cool though. But yeah,
force running, Obi-Wan and the good one. It'd be amazing.
If you could just get some brown paint and just blur it on the wall, it'd be fine. It'd look great.
It would. It's the only time I've ever seen that force power used in canon, and it could have helped so much.
It really could have. Let's run away. We can do it really fast.
So that Obi-Wan can do it as well. Let's see. At the ending of episode 1, where you see them use the power, you have the grid go. Why didn't he just use force speed and go from one end to the other? It could have been done. He could have saved his master, but no, he was selfish.
But if he'd ran too fast and he overshot, he would have gone straight down the pit, and that would have been a bad ending too. Overshot by this. Oh, dead.
No, because Maul survived. Maul
yes, he did. He did. With no legs. Very well.
Exactly. So he didn't even have legs to break his fall. His legs didn't break the fall for him. They were gone. So you know that if Obi-Wan overshot it, he would have lived. So why was this not done? Why did Qui-Gon have to die? He was selfish, I tell you. Anakin picked his lessons up from Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan failed his master. Anakin failed his, but more terribly. And you just see how this goes because then, oh look, Luke, although did okay, Kylo Ren came along because of that. So you see the lineage, all because Obi-Wan didn't use force speed to save Qui-Gon. Everything got screwed up down the line.
It's a good argument. I like it. We'll move on.
I just pointed out a giant plot hole in Star Wars. I'm not happy. I'm actually quite proud. No, I kid you not. Speaking of Darth Maul, the pre-orders are out for the Sideshow Darth Maul, the life-size bust, which is somehow priced at £1,100.
It's beautiful. It's massive. Obviously, life-size, based on his episode 1 appearance. No like wrinkles and cuts in his hair or anything like that. But you're right, $1,150 on release. You can pre-order it now, and they also give you a payment scheme where you can pay in chunks, which, of course, you'd have to because that's $1,100. It's beautiful, but it's going to be for special collect. It looks really good. I could never justify it.
No, I could never justify £1,100 for that bust. Don't get me wrong, it'll be pretty, but every time you have Ray Park just staring at you, just going £1,100.
Creep me out a little bit. Then I'd turn around and he'd be there looking at me.
Yep. And again, well, you'd see, he wouldn't have eyes anymore, which are dollar signs. You just know that, no. Can't be done. And then Hot Toys again has revealed its deluxe version 6-scale figure, the new Swiss Army knife R2D2. Priced at $243, so a little less expensive, and something that now makes sure R2 look a little inferior.
Yeah, it's a really nice R2 that I have. I've got the Sideshow one. I don't know if we've mentioned it before. I was
No, I have never mentioned
buying.
persuaded you to buy it. I never persuaded you and bent your arm back until you bought it. And never have I ever mentioned you doing a review on this channel or your own, The Life of Brien. People, please go check that out. It is worth it. He does some great videos. So whilst I am insulting him, I shall shamelessly plug him. However, back to the insulting part. No, you have never mentioned it, and nor have I.
I know, and it just... Maybe I know Will just makes it funny.
Let's be known. The only reason he has never posted a review of that video is because I request it so often. He's doing it just to annoy me. So if you ever want to see a review of this Sideshow R2, you never will, because if you ask him, he'll just put it off, put it off, put it off. You go, I promise. No, no, it'll never happen.
It does look amazing inside my cabinet that I have them in, but this one, the Hot Toys one, what they've done is they basically added every gadget that he had throughout the original trilogy, every sensor, every pointy thing, every saw, every bit to communicate with walls and listen to strange computers in Cloud City. They're all there. It's going to be huge. And to be honest, the price is $243 in the US, so it'll probably retail around about £243 over here. That's normally the way Hot Toys pricing works, that we get the same price, but we pay more, obviously.
But once you
look,
shipping and the import, it's actually... works out the same.
So, but yeah, it's a beautiful little thing. If you enjoy R2, that price, to be honest, I think that's worth it.
It's all done $100 for the Darth Maul. You could have 4 of these. In fact, you could have nearly 5. You could have 4.5 R2s for 1 bastard Darth Maul.
Yeah, and I love that phone call to Hot Toys. Hot Toys, do you do half an R2, please? Just right down the middle. That'd be great.
Indeed, I wish a cross section of R2D2, please. No,
you would be awesome. That would be absolutely. I'd actually really like that.
Yeah, it would be cool actually. Now just put the other half in someone else's order. Or you could buy one that splits into 2.
Just open them like a little book and just have them behind the actual one. That would look cool.
But the question is, though, would you then have another one which you open as half Kenny Baker side? Now, what I mean by that is actually...
Can you just down the middle? That's awful. Can't believe Phil would say things like that on the show called Ones with the Force. Oh, just terrible. Ladies and gentlemen, I only apologise for Phil's behaviour. Talking about Kenny Baker cut in half. I know what you meant, Kenny Baker inside, but yeah.
You could have a removable Kenny Baker figure inside, so you could just have this cut in half R2D2 where you can see what the actual movie version was like, not just what it actually was like. We know
the story that inside of R2's dome, Kenny Baker used to stick page 3 pictures to keep himself entertained while in the desert. We can't have that. Some child will buy that, Phil.
The details were so minute, it'd be fine. Nobody else will tell. But still, it was good. Yes, no. If you haven't seen Beneath the Dome, by the way, it's a rip-off of the VH1 Behind the Music. But my God, is it hilarious! It is one of the best mockumentaries you'll ever watch. If you haven't seen that series, I implore you, go ahead and watch it because it is just fantastic.
It is great. It's probably on YouTube. It's probably a very simple find on the internet.
It's when you have Samuel L. Jackson talking about R2D2 in the vein of him bringing a brother. It's just the most... yes. It is all of the yes. But still, moving on from that rather disturbing topic, what I meant was a removable Kenny Baker, so then you could have half an R2 where you could see what it's actually like inside, or not do the Kenny Baker at all and just completely avoid that awkward discussion you're going to have with someone saying, we're not chopping him in half, we swear. But still, we're going to move on to something completely different now, which is the LEGO Group winning against League Planet in China. I'm going to let you talk about this, Dave, because I really did not know about this one.
Yeah, so it's been on the... for a while, there's a Chinese group called Lepin who, when LEGO released big LEGO sets, the Chinese manufacturer makes bricks, releases sets under Lepin, same box art, same pieces, just not LEGO branded. Sets are literally brick for brick. People use them as a cheap alternative to LEGO because, let's not lie, these LEGO sets are not cheap, especially when you get to things like the UCS Millennium Falcon. £650 is a lot of money to drop on LEGO. So don't get me wrong, I understand why people then say I can get it for $200 or £300, whatever. It makes a lot of sense for a lot of people to be able to get big sets in the house and not have to pay LEGO prices. LEGO have been at war with market for a long time because of this. And finally, this court case has been ongoing for a long time. But in the last few weeks, it's actually been settled where the Chinese court actually agreed with Lego. It actually came out that they had been liable for copying three-dimensional artworks of 18 Lego sets, multiple Lego minifigures, as well as carrying out unfair competition acts, which I'm guessing because their price is so much lower, people are buying them rather than getting lower than Lego. They were ordered to immediately cease producing, selling, exhibiting, or any way promoting the infringing products. And then they have to pay Lego, obviously, damages. And this is actually what shocked me. It was actually 5 million yen. It actually works out at £500,000.
It is, but it's not. It's more the copyright infringement that's the important stuff there. The damage themselves, the Chinese government were never going to make this company pay a huge amount, but the copyright is what's big here.
It's amazing that Lego have won. I honestly didn't think they would win.
No, if you look at cars,
to China as well. So
car manufacturers, that there are carbon copies out there of Audis and Mercs and European. There's just cars all over the place been copied in China. Audi lost a case when a company literally copied it spec for spec and just stuck a different badge on it, and Audi lost somehow. So for a company, a non-Chinese company, to win one of these cases is huge. And you can only imagine what would happen if it was Disney involved. Disney would have just taken them to the house
of mouse. It is absolutely huge, and I was shocked that they won the case. But I think it's a real step in the right direction. It's really good for Lego. I'm guessing they'll be absolutely over the moon that they've got this case, especially going with the kind of, I'm sure this is Lego, the three-dimensional works of art, which, when you make some of these things, you put a lot of hours into some of these. Some of these builds take days and weeks.
Your brick-linked R2-D2 took you months to collect the actual pieces themselves, and then, of course, the build took you, 10 hours, something like that, on the time lapse?
I think I started at 8 o'clock in the evening. I just finished. It turned 4 a.m. when I finished building R2, and I did that. But yeah, it took me a year to buy all the bricks for that because I'd missed the UCS R2D when it came out. Really didn't want to pay the price that was going on eBay, so literally went out and bought the bricks as I could, and that's probably a better way of doing it than these Chinese sets, which probably use lesser plastic, more brittle. You never know in the quality of that. Obviously, it's not going to Lego's quality processes for getting your bricks. So, yeah, a bricklink is a great way to get anything you need to build. But yeah, so I'm actually really happy for Lego that they've been able to win this case, and Leppin will hopefully start disappearing.
Indeed. So yes, that is Toy Shelf for now. We're going to move on to our Resistance recap. So we've had 2 episodes come out the past couple of weeks. We've had the High Tower and the Children of Tehar. Finding the High Tower is next to impossible. It can be done. I'm not going to explain here how, because the House of Mouse will probably take me to the House of Mouse, so I don't finish that. Just say there are means out there to finding these episodes, and we shall leave it at that. So, I know that Dave, unfortunately, has not seen the High Tower, so I'm not going to go too in-depth. I don't want to spoil it too much here. So I do apologise to you, Dave, and I apologise to anyone out there, because we always do. Spoiler alert here. Either stop watching the broadcast now or skip ahead if you're watching this on a recorded version, or if you're listening on the podcast. Skip ahead about 10-15 minutes to our canteen talk at the end. Again, we just want to be fair to you guys out there. Dave, unfortunately, you're going to have this spoiled for you, but
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah,
the High Tower is one of the best so far. So up until now, we've had the first 3 episodes. You had what was it? Fuel for the Fire was the previous episode. So you
the Recruit and the Triple Dark as well.
Exactly. So you got out of this shadow of the start of the show. The ball's now rolling. So the High Tower is your first proper appearance of the First Order. So Kasuda Ziono is at the start. He's just lounging about, wanting to help out. Tam isn't particularly enthused about this. Niku is helping out Tam. They need an extra pair of hands. And he breaks what they're trying to repair because it's Kazuda. He is useless. So him and BB-8 have to go off and try and find a way of repairing or fixing this this piece of equipment. However, the power then goes out, so they can't. And the whole point, you have the commissioner come over the tunnel and go, I'm sorry, but we're low on fuel, so we'll be saving power for the next 100 hours. There will not be permanent light, just be warned. Power then goes out. They go, okay, well, we might as well go to Aunt Z's and have a drink. At this particular point, Hype Phazon finally shows up. You finally get to hear Donald Phazon. Yeah, Hype Phazon is in this episode, and he is amazing. Anyone who's a fan of Scrubs, just it's kind of just Turk in Star Wars. You just can't get enough. I'm just waiting for Zach Braff to appear from somewhere, and then those two to have a bromance, just because it needs to happen. If Disney do not do it, I will be severely disappointed. But that's not the point. So Hype Phazon shows up. It turns out him and Tam have a bit of history. They were friends. Nothing more than that, but it shows how bitter the friendship got, and saying, well, he really wants to get into the High Tower itself. And there's rumors floating around that the captain is in league with the First Order. So, of course, Kazuda really wants to get in there to see what he can. Of course, he's in under the employment of Poe Dameron and the Resistance to see what he can do. So they end up going into the High Tower itself. They end up sneaking, well, not sneaking, Hype Phazon ends up getting himself and Tam in there. Kazuda then kind of sneaks off as those two are having an argument, and he ends up finding that the First Order officers, I can't remember the name of the captain in Scarlet Armor, he's there along with two first officers and goes and sees the captain and goes, look, quite simple here. You know, you want fuel. We want to help you. We want to have our roots. We don't want us to be known to the Republic. And he goes, well, we could tell you the Republic about you. He goes, yes, but we could tell you about your secret dealings with the pirates. So he's extorting the captain. He goes, well, one fuel shipment won't do it. You're going to have to do better than that. First Order goes away. But at this point, a communicator that Kazuda had been given by Niku is on a tray of a droid. Comes out, the frequencies interlock, and the First Order hear it, and he has to run away. At this particular point, he ends up in Tor's room. Tor, as you know, is the daughter of the captain from the first episode. He challenges to a race. She kind of thinks he's into her. It's a kind of an awkward moment there. The First Order pounding the door, he manages to escape, which is one of the funniest moments because you have basically him playing Donkey Kong, but in reverse. The original Donkey Kong game, everyone knows what I mean of the original Donkey Kong game of Mario going up the ladder to try and get to Donkey Kong. It's the reverse of that, with Aunt Z and everyone else taking bets on if he'll fall. It is quite brilliant. I do love that scene. And basically the episode ends up with him getting back there, the power coming back on, but him being able to report in that First Order's trying to extort this rig here, and that everything is not quite as peachy as it seems. It is a really, really good episode. It's one that if you haven't started to watch the show already, I implore you to, but this one starts to give you a bit more background on the First Order and how they're kind of seeping into the more known reaches of the galaxy. We know First Order came out of the unknown reaches into the Outer Rim. This is them exploring this very outer rim. And it is a fantastic episode. And of course, it's that first real appearance of the First Order. I mean, Phasma's involved, but it's kind of neither here nor there, really. Well, to be fair, at the moment, she's not being too bad. She's having like one or two lines. It's fine. So that's fine. But yes, that was that episode, of course. That's Hightower. And then we have, on top of that, we now have the children from Tehar. And again, I'll let Dave, you take over Children from Tehar, and then we can discuss both of them together.
Yeah, so this was actually, of the episodes that we've had so far, this is probably my favorite as well. I haven't seen the episode Phil saw there, the Hightower, so I'm going to try and catch that at some point. And this one, it starts out in very similar fashion. Kaz again is damaging things that he's trying to be helpful and break something, and it seems to be the way they start the episode. Kaz breaks something.
Was confused, wasn't it? But
yeah, and gets sent off on a mission to repair it.
Back to back before I kind of watched it, did the show.
So he sent a mission but he realizes he's short on credits. But they hear about a 20,000 credit bounty on 2 runaway children. And he thinks that's great. He could solve all these money issues. He runs into the children in the marketplace they have. You've seen that in a few episodes now. They have a marketplace on the... What do they call the actual place they live on? I can't remember. But that big watery place that they live on. Yes, you know that.
It's in there.
They're looking on there. Yeah, there's a marketplace there. Market, lovely. Anyway, so he gets his children thinking he's going to solve his issues with the money that he needs to repair the part that he wants to get. And he actually finds out when he finds his children, he actually gets a hold of them, not gets a hold of them badly. He says he wants to protect them. And you start to then unfold a backstory about Tahir, and that it is a planet that was pretty much ravaged and destroyed by the First Order. And that's probably our first point where we get mentioned where they go, there's no hiding from him. We don't get who that is at first, although as soon as it was said, my head went, I know who that is.
It works, yeah.
Yeah. So again, this is Doza is summoned to go, and he speaks to Captain Phasma, who says again the children are here. She sends some troops over to arrest them and take them back because they don't want the story of what they've done getting out there yet. So that is them trying to get rid of silence these children. The children then fake their own deaths towards the back end of this episode with the help of some turtle creatures. I don't know what species they are, but they can lower their heart rates to look like they're dead. And they do that while the children just tucked away hiding. That's all very clever. But that's when it's all said. That's when the name's first uttered. We hear it's Kylo Ren, who these children are fearing. That then leads Kaz to report to the Resistance and asks them, have you heard of this Kylo Ren? To which he's told, yes, we're aware of him, which was excellent. But yeah, and it kind of finishes where we find out about Tahar and what happened, that literally the First Order is wiping out the villages and and they've done the same as they did with Senteka's church at the beginning of the First Order, the beginning of Force Awakens, where they just go in and kill everybody.
It's very much the First Order, much more of a brutal regime than the Empire. The Empire wants to occupy you, beat you down, make you feel downtrodden, make you feel like you had no option. First Order just wants to eradicate you. You're either with them or you're not, and that's it. That's very, very black and white, very simple.
The minute we got Kylo Ren mentioned, that he's obviously on the search for the map for Skywalker, and it's taking place in the background. So obviously he's had some intelligence that there's somewhere on this planet or this town or wherever it was, had some information, and they've gone in and just decimated them, apart from these two kids who've somehow escaped off planet.
Yeah.
It was just, for all I can't quite get away with the animation style still, this episode drew me in the moment I figured out it was Kylo Ren that we're talking about. Even in the marketplace when they mentioned there's no getting away from me, you'll find us. The fact I thought in my head they're talking about Kylo Ren, that instantly made this episode 100 times better than it was seeming already. I love that this tied in so well.
Indeed. This is, excuse me if I get you a little slightly confused with the beginnings of those two episodes. However, it's a show that once you get past the animation style, the writing is there, the quality is there in the writing. The first couple episodes is the first couple episodes. It's the same as it was with Rebels. It has to be that light-hearted introduction, but already we're seeing them go down this darker path of the reality that is Star Wars, and I really like that. It's one of those shows that we all here thought that would they go down that road? Would it be light-hearted? Would it be purely a children's show? Could they do much more? What would they do? And we're already starting to see, no, they're not talking about the First Order occupying a planet. We're talking about the First Order eradicating a planet. You have a 20,000 credit bounty on 2 children because they may have seen something that happened. That's brutal. And it's okay, the writing is there. You're seeing the base itself is lighthearted, but the stories that surround it and seep into it is Star Wars. It's very much Star Wars, and it's just, the more you watch it, the more the show goes on, the more you go, hang on a second, this is getting interesting. And I for one, am enjoying it.
I just loved how it tied in so much to episode 7.
Yeah.
That destruction of a village and the people being slaughtered was just literally that's your opening of episode 7.
It's
down to a T.
On that particular point, Dave, they don't talk about people being slaughtered. It's implied, but when you can see it, and it's just this. Everything's implied, but it's implied well.
Yeah, very well. Very well. So yeah, if you haven't seen this, it is on Disney XD, I believe. Now they've shown 1 episode, maybe 2 at this moment in time. So
they have shown the first 3 episodes, which is the first 2, which is 1 obviously, and the 3rd episode, which was Fuel for Fire, I believe. So yeah, they've shown that. Oh no, Triple Dark. Sorry, Triple Dark. They've shown
Triple Dark. So they're going to have Fuel for Fire this weekend. So they're going to be about 2 weeks behind on the UK. But I would recommend
watch it.
Yeah, I would recommend giving it a go. It's might not be for everybody, but the story, the fact to be honest, I was ready just to quit on this series, and then literally the Kylo Ren mention came in, and honestly, that changed my outlook. And I know it's silly to hear a name.
I'm hooked. I genuinely am.
Yeah.
I'm more the I'll give everything a go end. George is the I'll give nothing a go end. I end up in the middle a lot sometimes, depending on where we end up with stuff, depending on what the release is. But on this particular occasion, no, I'm the far just watch it. It's so good. George is the he can't get past animation. Dave is slap bang in the middle. He's taken up my position usually on this. We do have this third mysterious person called George, by the way. If you go back in our back catalogue, you can see him. He does exist.
George, yeah, unfortunately, with him being away working, he's had to move. So he was actually trying to get back for tonight's episode, but he didn't leave till quite late before we started. So he was just going to try and get on, but obviously he's not quite made it back, and we're almost at the end. So he probably won't make this episode.
Team talk already.
Yeah, so I mean, we see already.
We've got our game section to do. We haven't done that yet.
So anyway, but yes, thoughts on just resistance before we kind of go. Really quite enjoying it. It has drawn me in. I love we're building into episode 7 because it is only set 6 months before, so we are kind of right on the tails of it.
Yet they haven't actually confirmed when it's set. It's set before episode 7. They haven't actually that 6 months part. Although
is that not in the initial press release? No. I'm sure that's in the initial press release that it's set 6 months before Force Awakens. I can't say that I haven't got it in front of me, but I'm fairly sure that it was in the initial.
Whilst I'm talking about the next part of the games, then I will believe you because I know it has been leaked, but it's not been officially announced. I'll tell you, you don't find that press release, whilst I will talk about our first game section. So, the first bit of our game section is Lego Star Wars, Lego Star Wars 2 Digital Trilogy, and now both on Xbox One. So in their back catalogue, you can now get both. I recently have been playing the Clone Wars. It's brilliant. That was Lego Star Wars 3. But yes, so the original trilogy and the first games are now available on Xbox Live. You can go and download them. I think it's on PC as well as Xbox. Well worth it. Those games were always fun. It's one of those things that if you want to while away a few hours and just have fun, do it. They are incredible. They are brilliant games. And I'm assuming at this point Dave hasn't actually found the press release.
No, but what are you talking about? Yeah, it is just now. It's backwards compatible on Xbox, as Phil was saying. So if you have the initial disc from your old Xbox, you can now pop that in your Xbox One and play that game, and it is downloadable through the store as well.
Yes. The next point I actually know quite a lot about, so I'll be able to quite happily talk about this. So, Fantasy Flight Games have released their next bunch of previews. So there's up for Legion, there's up for Destiny. I'm not hugely up on those, so you have to go and look for yourself. But the next pack of Destiny tying with Solo has been released, and the next expansions for Legion have been released. I think the ATST has now been released properly, so you can go and buy that now. The next releases for X-Wing have now been announced. So with Star Wars X-Wing, the previews have gone up for the T-70 X-Wing and the First Order TIE Fighter, both of which are coming out with the expansion packs, so the conversion kits, in December, end of November, beginning December at some point, so they're coming out very, very soon. The previews are now gone up for those, so you can now see the cards and the upgrades, the pilots, the new abilities, the new dials. Everything has now been released, so you can go and have a preview of those. They're on the Fantasy Flight websites, Fantasy Flight Games website, along with the big announcement that dropped today, which was the Clone Wars expansions. So the Clone Wars we knew was coming from when we had the press release early in the year, but they have finally dropped the details on Wave 3, which is what's coming out first. So you have the TIE Striker now coming out for 2.0, so if you need a TIE Striker, you can find that. However, they have now announced everything for the first wave of Clone Wars. So you have Servants of Strike Squadron Pack, which is 2 Vulture droids and the Solar Fighter, which is Grievous' ship. I can't remember the exact name off the top of my head. The Sith Infiltrator is coming out. The Vulture class droid Starfighter expansion pack. You've got the Guardians of the Republic Squadron, which is 2 V-19 Torrent fighters and the generic Delta 7 Starfighter. You then actually have the Delta 7, which you have Anakin's version of that one, the yellow one, which is really cool. The Separatist Alliance Maneuver Dial upgrade kit, the Galactic Republic Maneuver Dial upgrade kit, and the Z94 Headhunter expansion pack. So the Z94 was originally introduced in the Clone Wars anyway, but it's good to see. I guess it's Clone Wars paint job. The Arc 170 has now got its Clone Wars paint job, so it's not the Rebel Alliance overhaul version we have now. But yes, they have just gone, hi, we know you like the Clone Wars. Here's everything Clone Wars related, and
the standard of paintwork and the models that you have in these games is getting better and better and better, where you're getting close to little versions of ILM maquettes, and the craft work that goes in are just incredible.
Yeah, they are. They are fantastic. If you ever just want a collection of small starfighters that are higher quality and better paint jobs than the micro fighter versions you can get from Micro Machines, these are your bet. They are incredibly well done. They're incredibly well painted, and they're just beautiful.
Awesomeness.
Did you find that press release?
No. Okay, it wasn't in the press release. It was someone who found some code on the trailer that it was in there. So yes, I was proved wrong. So I'll sit quietly and just.
It's one of those things that we have had that leak. We haven't had it officially confirmed. I think they're leaving that wiggle room so they can get another season or two out there, maybe.
Well played. You were right.
As is the normal hero ones with the Force, unless Robin corrects me somewhere, which he usually does. Anyway, so we now finish up this evening with our Cantina talk, and we're going to touch back on a subject we were talking about earlier, which is the legacy of the first 6 years of the Disney era. Personally, I remember the where and the when this was announced. I was at university, and I actually remember the press release coming out when it was telling me that Disney has indeed bought Star Wars. And I was livid. I did not want that castle going anywhere near my precious Star Wars logo. And I've had to humbly eat my words over the past 6 years. There have been its pitfalls so far. I mean, Canto Bight is by far one of the most boring sequences ever to be put in a movie ever. However, if you take that aside from it and the fact that how Solo gets the name Solo, still hate that. They've done a fantastic job over these past few years, as I said, with now bringing back the Clone Wars, with Resistance, with Rebels, with Episode 7, with Episode 8, with Rogue One. I mean, come on, they have done an incredible job. To go in 2 years, from 2012 to 2014, building up to this release in 2015 of The Force Awakens, and just this ride they've had since then, the incredible success, been well earned. And yeah, of course, Dave and I both remember periods of no Star Wars. I mean, yes, when I was growing up, I got the re-releases in '97. I had to wait 2 years before Episode 1. So although it wasn't as long as Dave having to wait for me, I still had to wait. And then, of course, we had the 10-year gap between the ending of Episode 3 and having Episode 7. Yes, with the Clone Wars in between, but I watched the movie, and it didn't sell me on the TV show. I had to go back and rewatch the TV show. It's one of those things I'm gutted I didn't actually get into the show when it was released, but that movie kind of,
It's a tough watch. It's a tough watch.
Yeah. But for me personally, those 6 years so far, they've flown by, and that's starting to flag a little bit. They need to be more careful with their releases. Even Bob Iger has said so himself. However, I deem it a success.
You can't step away from thinking it isn't a success. Like you said very earlier on in this episode, they made their $4 billion back within a couple of movies. That was done. No matter how much they spent on marketing, things like that, which is where a lot of movies kind of make your money. You kind of spend your money, you make your film, and then you have to put out another 5, 10, 15 million just on your selling the movie.
Well, it ends up as a $300 million feature film with $200 million marketing.
So it's just insane, that amount of money. I was talking obviously in peanuts, but it was it came out at a time. You're right, it was a strange one. As soon as it was announced, there was obviously Death Star with mouse ears on, and people think the Disney Castle was going to be at the beginning of every Star Wars movie, which obviously thankfully has proved not to be the case. It's been a ride, it really has, and it's been an exciting ride. There's
only two things that they've done which is annoying. One of which was LucasArts. I'll get into that in a second. The other one, though, you're talking about the Disney Castle bit not being in front of it. That's fine, but not having the THX logo in front of it, that annoyed me. Where's my blaster sound? Where's my sound wave kicking me in the back of my chair?
It's been an unmitigated success in most parts. And yes, people will throw The Last Jedi in your face in the backlash and then the Solo fallout from that. But I don't think you can kind of look at a 6-year picture and think that was a massive dip. It was maybe, yes, it was a little bit of a low ebb in what they've had so far. But then to start the climb already back towards Clone Wars and the Mandalorian, and now the Cassian Andor show is just...
That just sounds like a talk show, though.
The Cassian Andor show. I'll shoot you in the back. It's just...
I'm 6 years old.
I can't say anything but a story to have a amazing excitement that was episode 7 coming out, and people just eating everything up Star Wars again, to bring it to the focus that it had, which, yes, the cartoon show was there with Clone Wars, but that was being watched by, like you said yourself, you weren't watching that because of the failure of that film where they put out 3 episodes as a movie. Didn't quite work very well. Wasn't great. It was an introduction, so yeah, it's pretty bad. So a lot of people weren't into it and have come back to it now in later years of that series. But then Disney kind of come out.
Imagine if we just had Star Wars details. It could have derailed a lot of what happened. I'm glad Disney put that in the can. I wish they didn't put LucasArts in the can, though. We shouldn't have lost 1313. There's a couple of projects that I was looking forward to that didn't seem like they because of Disney. And then, of course, they end up cancelling Clone Wars. But if you take those small failures and put it against the unmitigated success of New Seven, it's just... Yeah,
it's been massive for Star Wars, and yes, we got to the point where it's like, you know what, stop putting out Star Wars for a little bit, and they certainly have taken that to note. And so, like you said, Bob Iger said, look, my call, I wanted Star Wars out every year, I want something out, and that is too much. Saturation of the market, people are losing interest, so they need to have that break between the movies, and the TV shows will really help that. But they brought out shows, even with the failure, that box office failure that was Solo, and the reactions to episode 8, people are still here. People are still wanting Star Wars, and for there to be excitement around upcoming projects that are going on to Disney Plus.
If you get back to it, I mean, look at when we were at Star Wars Celebration 2016. Look at how that sold out. I mean, look at the amount of enthusiasm there was there, and that was after episode 7. We had Rogue One. We didn't have episode 8. We had announcements for Solo and things. The amount of the buzz there was just electric.
It was crazy, and I mean, the guy who played Baze gave away his the death of Chirrut, but other than that, it was fine.
Which, the evidence that no longer exists.
Yeah, no, you cannot see that anywhere. You can watch the panel. That is not said anymore. Weirdly, it's like a special edition version.
Everything else is there, but it's like the shorts that it should be for one particular reason, and it's just.
It was a moment. Yeah, it was a moment where everybody looked at each other. Did he just? Yeah, he did. Okay, we'll carry on. Tudyk with his hands in his head.
The actual audience, just like, you can hear everyone's collective hush voice of wait, what did he just say?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what happens, unfortunately, when you put someone who, one, doesn't really speak English and doesn't really understand a lot of it either, as he's, that's not his native tongue, and he does a lot of films in his own country, so it wasn't enough. He probably learned his lines, and that was all he needed. So to put him in front of a panel audience, the mistakes were going to happen. Unfortunately, they did in a big way. But overall, I guess we're looking at the Disney legacy, and I can't see anything but it being a positive story for Star Wars, and I think it will continue on being so.
We've got 44 regular episodes, including this one. We've done 73, I think it is, videos in total. So we've done nearly 30 specials on top of our regular show.
Nice.
Let that sink in. We've done 73 episodes so far, and that's from us just all meeting up at Star Wars Celebration. And we have found things to talk about every 2 weeks, almost without failure. Almost without failure for 2 years now.
It's been a ride, and I say we're going to closing on episode 50 of the regular podcast, which is amazing. And had Disney not been this bought Star Wars, who knows? This probably would never have happened. We probably would have still maybe met at Celebration, but there would have been nothing for us to then have to talk about every couple of weeks. Because what can you talk about when the movies have stopped?
Definitely.
So I mean, the main legacy is my main legacy of this that we do right now, and I'm over the moon for that. It's an amazing thing. I get to do this every couple of weeks and talk to my friends about Star Wars, which is the best thing in the world, and I love doing this.
A lot of people think you're crazy for talking to a ghost, but it's fine.
Well, yes, but that's okay. But it's just we're talking about the legacy of Disney. I think we'll be in a place in the next 6 years where we'll look back after a decade of Disney and think, wow, look where we are now from where we came.
We'll have finished
that. Yeah, we'll have. Oh God, yeah, absolutely. We'll have. Yeah, that's right. That's 12, Dave.
It's 6 years from 10 years from the first film coming out. I will save you that grace there.
Thanks, man. Thanks. I didn't mean it that way. I just did bad maths. So it's going to be an amazing thing to look back after we hit a decade and look at where we've come, and when we have The Mandalorian out and we've got episode 9, the Skywalker Saga, is finished, and we'll probably have an idea of where we're going to go next in the Star Wars universe. Disney, for myself, nothing but praise for them.
Yeah.
Yes, people don't agree with everything, and no one's ever going to agree, especially on the internet, with what you put out there.
People that think 4, 5, and 6 is the only Star Wars. There's still people out there that don't even like 5 and 6. There's still people out there who just watch episode 4 and that's it. I mean, it is what it is. The fans are polarizing, but for us, the legacy has been this show, and it has been nearly 2 years now. So when we reach episode 52, it will be 2 years worth.
Amazing.
Yeah, and that's just on the regular shows, not even the specials we've done. I mean, yes, a lot of those have come from Celebration. We'll have our reports on the ground next year, proving he does exist. That also says we always hope that George can join us. He will join us when he can. He always puts in a lot of work behind the scenes that you guys out there don't necessarily see, but we always appreciate. And it's always good to have that third person to bounce ideas off, because this show is a collaborative effort.
Well, we have talked for nearly an hour and like a half, so we've done all right tonight by ourselves.
We tried to wait for George, but unfortunately we can no longer do so, and it's about time to wrap this episode up. Any final thoughts, Dave?
No, just again, a massive thank you to everyone who's watching, to everyone who's joining in, who's listening to the podcast. And we will do our utmost, because we know last few episodes haven't hit iTunes yet. We are looking into that. I'm certainly looking into that, of how we can get the audio pulled and out there for everyone to see, because Spotify is now available as a platform. I think it'd be really important for us to get on there as well. Yep. So yeah, just a massive thank you to everyone who joins in on the Facebook and on the Instagram and the Twitter, who listens in and talks to us too.
Indeed, yeah. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Ones with the Force. We've been Ones with the Force. May the Force be with you. Good night.